Live here in beautiful Salt Lake City here at DNA HQ, and this is the DNA Sports Recap. How's it going, AJ?
Dude, I'm doing so good today. So good. I'm so glad to be back.
Absolutely. So excited to be back. Happy to be here. Happy to have you folks with us there. We already have a comment there in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump into that and say, hey, we have Greg Hawkins.
Let's go.
For sure, my man, for sure. Glad to have you aboard. Glad to have you on. Look forward to chatting with you throughout the show. So hopefully everybody had a great holiday season, had a happy new year and all that good stuff. You know, everybody's livers recovered for those of you that partake in that kind of thing and, you know, all that good stuff. So, but yeah, we're excited. We're happy to be back and ready to get back in and swing of things. So we're going to go ahead and run through a few of the things there. We'll get the podcast started and kind of go from there. Before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into the pre-show cheers.
Best part of the pre-show routine.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you guys.
In case you missed it, we have a video up. The last video we posted a couple days ago is a review of that whiskey. That was Basil Hayden Malted Rye. Delicious stuff.
It is delicious.
Really, really good. And let's just make sure we're up on Instagram. Looks like we have 4 in the chat, or 4 with us right now. And we also have, we're there. We're there. I can't really see how this works on Instagram. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out, folks.
We should probably pull our phone up and we could probably check, considering we're both friends of our channel.
Yeah,
that probably shows us.
Well, I can't use my phone, so
yeah, yours is the current recording device. So hold on, I will check because I've never actually looked. Oh yeah, it does show us live.
Yeah. So you can jump into the
cool. Yeah,
cool.
Okay,
we're good. We're live.
It shows we're live.
It's great.
Instagram.
All right.
Fantastic.
So, perfect. Well, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to chatting with y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. You ready for the podcast?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the DNA Sports Recap. Penn State versus Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Let's preview it.
And we've got Texas versus Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Let's break it down.
With the Utah Hockey Club, does this team have an issue when playing at home?
And can our Utah Hockey Club make a push to the playoffs?
For the Utah Jazz, is Walker Kessler trade bait or is he part of the core rebuild?
Is there any chance that Bryce Sensabaugh is a star in the making?
In Major League Baseball, is baseball a dying sport? All that and more. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
Doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. I'm so ready to get it. There's so much good college football coming on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great to follow so far. You know, Arizona State got hosed, but we're just going to kind of leave that there and move on.
Hosed is the understatement of the century, my friend.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. Once again, folks, if you are just tuning in, we do want to encourage you guys to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We have passed 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit $500 in AdSense revenue, we're going to be giving that back away to you folks. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway. All right, let's go ahead and start with the Orange Bowl, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so what we have going on with the Orange Bowl, we have Penn State versus Notre Dame. Kick time is 7:30 Eastern time. That's going to be on tomorrow, actually, January 9th at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. This game will be broadcasted on ESPN. The spread on this one is got the Irish favored by 1 at the time of recording, and the over-under line on this one is 45.5 points.
Wow, that's pretty. So it's predicted to be a low-scoring game.
Yes.
45.5. Yeah.
Yes, and a tight one.
Yeah. Oh, very tight.
Tight one. What do you got on this?
Yeah, I mean, so my first thought when seeing this matchup is, where did all of these like old school smash mouth, run first, physical defense games? I mean, these games used to be the heart and soul of college football, man. Like, and if that's your style, if you like defense first, run the ball, who's going to win in the trenches, this game is an absolute dream to watch, and you should be pumped up and ready to watch this one
for sure.
Because that's what this one is. 100%. This game is going to be slow going. This 100% won in the trenches. That's all there is to it. Notre Dame is second nationally at 6.1 yards per carry, and Penn State isn't far behind at 5.3. So both defensive units are also top 10 in yards allowed per play and scoring defense. So these two teams are, I mean, it's all in the trenches, right? I mean, Riley Leonard's going to be the guy for Notre Dame. Obviously, this guy's had some great games for Notre Dame so far. He's pushed them. They had that one loss early to NIU, and it looked like Notre Dame could be on a shaky start, but they plugged through. They won the rest of the games all the way through, obviously throughout the rest of the season. And I think in this game, he's probably going to need his legs more than he's going to need his arm throwing the football. Obviously, there's not going to be any weather. In the first round of these games, Penn State and Notre Dame both had games in cold climates, and that was like, who can win in these things, right?
Right.
This one's going to be in Miami. It's going to be in a closed stadium. But I do think that him being the extra guy that's tough to account for, he's always going to be a throwing threat because he is very talented. But if he can use his legs to keep the Penn State defense guessing, that will be the difference in this football game. On the other side of the ball, Drew Allar, this dude's had moments of absolute brilliance. He makes great throws. You've seen him hang in the pocket and take a huge hit to get the ball down the field. And he's really shown like guts, right? That it's going to take to get Penn State for a win this big on this stage. That's really what it's going to take. So what do you think?
No, I like it, man. I like it. Makes sense there. So Penn State's defense is top 10 nationally most of the season by most metrics.
Yeah.
The Nittany Lions did lead the Big Ten in tackles for a loss with over 102, which is always a great way to disrupt the opponent's offensive flow. So, look forward to that. Just like you mentioned, it's going to be, not exactly a high scoring game. Both these teams are defensively stout. Offensively, Penn State's tight end, Tyler Warren, is the guy for them. He's got 95 catches for 1,158 yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. However, that's kind of where my concern is for this team.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of depth behind him.
Yeah.
The Notre Dame's defense is ranked 5th in points allowed per drive and 8th in success rate. James Franklin's, does have documented struggles against top 10 teams with a record of 4-19 against top 10 teams. However, they did beat number 3 Boise State, and with wins over SMU and Boise State, it's kind of hard to argue that, for me, Penn State did easily have an easier path to the playoffs to where they're at this point.
Oh, much easier.
So
yeah.
A game prediction this close with the spread being, 1 point in favor of Notre Dame. What it really comes down to me is going to be, head coaching and quarterback play. That's basically what it's going to be.
Yep.
I got to give the edge here to the Fighting Irish, though. Freeman's improving every year since he's been underneath the big headset. With good wins over Indiana and Georgia. I got Notre Dame 21, Penn State 19.
Dude, I actually love it. I think this is one of those games that really comes down to who wants it more, who has more to prove after their regular season, and who actually really believes they can get it done when it counts. That's pretty much the reason that I think Penn State will beat Notre Dame in this game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So dominant defense. They've been great all year. They've got the bring your lunch pail, grind it out on offense, and the drive to kind of prove that they belong among the elite in this league, right? They've been kind of the second fiddle to Oregon, who's here right now. Oregon kind of came in. Obviously, Oregon gets taken out in the first or in the second round of this playoff, but Oregon kind of came in and they're the sweetheart. Obviously Ohio State's still in it. I think the Nittany Lions are ready to make a huge statement, and this is the game that they have to prove it. I think that this is the one where if they're really here and they want to make a name for themselves and really boost their recruiting, all that stuff, James Franklin knows this is the game he's got to win.
For sure. It's been the kind of the storyline. Penn State's been a team that's been good enough to be a CFP team. They just haven't really.
They didn't have a chance. Yeah.
Just haven't gotten it to that point yet. I think right now you're 100% right on that. This is the game where they got to make that happen. So we'd love to hear it. You got a score?
Yep. So I'm going to say Penn State 20, Notre Dame 17.
I like it. It. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think in regards to your prediction of the Orange Bowl here. Do you got Notre Dame or do you got Penn State? We'd love to hear from you on that. Let us know in the comments down below. Also, a reminder, folks, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. This channel was just monetized a little bit ago. Once we hit $500 in AdSense revenue, we're going to give all of that back to y'all. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway.
Yep, absolutely. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available, complete episode as a podcast, wherever you get your audio.
Check out the merch down below as well.
Check it. Yeah,
we got some hats, some new shirts coming up. We got a couple of hoodies down there.
New
Not
stuff's
this one.
always coming too.
Hat. Yeah. We got some new stuff coming out, especially for college football. We got a killer fire shirt that we want to put out for Kyle Whittingham.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes, it's coming.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump on over and talk a little bit about Ohio State versus Texas, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So this might be one of the biggest games of all of college football. And what a huge opportunity. So Ohio State versus Texas. We got them in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. And just what a huge opportunity for both programs, right? Texas was taken down by Georgia in the SEC Conference Championship game, and Ohio State missed their Conference Championship game completely after, their late loss to Michigan at the end of the season.
Right.
So I do think the late loss kind of sparked a fire for Ohio State, and because of that, they open. But Ohio State opens as a 5.5 point favorite, and the total points on this game is 53.5. So this game's going to take place Friday. January 10th at 7:30 Eastern time. And this is at Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. What are your thoughts and who do you got taking this one?
So let's start with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We're going to start there. Will Howard is averaging over 249 yards per game for 39 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a QBR of 87.3, which is only second to Cam Ward this year, which is fantastic. Quinn Ewers, probably not pronouncing that last name right.
Ewers.
I said Ewers.
Yep.
Is ranked 20th in QBR rating at a 76.1. What I really like about this Ohio State team there is their ability to adapt. This team had a loss earlier in the year to Oregon, but the defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, made some adjustments and took care of them, the next round, the last round, right?
Yes.
So to me, that ability to adapt and that ability to make adjustments, I think, is key. Texas has had issues with consistent play on both sides of the ball, which also includes special teams. Auburn missed 2 field goals last game, and their defense gave up 28 points in the second half. So, what I'm seeing there on that side is that Texas will give Ohio State a chance to win this game. Will get them opportunities in this game. Ohio State's defense has 12 sacks in 2 college football playoff games this season and have playmakers all over the field. And also, let's not forget, this is Chip Kelly offense going on right now.
And I'm going to tell you, that Chip Kelly offense looked absolutely, undoubtedly outstanding against Oregon. They looked like they were going to score on every single possession. I don't know if they punted once in that game against Oregon. Like, legitimately, I don't know if they punted once. You guys can fact check that, but I'm telling you, it was that good. They were all over the place. Will Howard was an absolute beast. He brings a ton of experience, right? He played a couple seasons at Kansas State. He's really matured this season as far as he's making his reads much faster. He's pulling the ball down when he needs to, but he did struggle to move the ball against Michigan, and Michigan was not a great team this year. Now, Michigan's still Michigan. They're still the defending national champions. They're still loaded with talent. And the fact is it's a rivalry game. We know anything can happen. We watched it with BYU and Utah this year.
Right.
They didn't make it happen, but I'm going to tell you, this Texas defense is much different than anything Ohio State has seen this year. They're talented. Their secondary is really good. Will Howard's going to be forced to make really, really accurate passes into small windows that he hasn't had to make in some of these previous games. Oregon kept floating into some soft zone coverage, and he was torching them. I mean, over the middle, he had whatever he wanted, and they were kind of relying on their pass defense to get to him, or I'm sorry, their rush defense, their pass rush to get to him. They weren't getting to him. He had plenty of time. This is going to be an interesting one. I love it. I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, I definitely see it. It's going to be a tight one again. I don't see either one of these being a huge blowout. I do see the Longhorns making some crucial miscues in this game at some point. And I do think the Buckeyes are going to be able to capitalize on those mistakes, and also the ability to make adjustments in game. I think is going to really kind of give Ohio State the edge in this one. I got Buckeyes 34, Texas 24.
Wow, really? Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think Ryan Day needs the win probably more than any coach in college football right now, especially after his loss to Michigan at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Buckeye fans were really feeling that they were not super happy with him. Will Howard has a ton of experience, and Ohio State is built for big time games just like this. I'm going to go Ohio State 35, Texas 27, which means if my predictions are right, we have a Big Ten on Big Ten for national championship.
Yeah, which would be great.
Yeah,
you know, be great to see. Great to see.
I'm not sure that I want Ohio State because I'm not an Ohio State fan. I don't want the SEC in it, though.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting. No offense to my Bama fans, Bama fans out there, my people, Roll Tide. Those people.
I would have rather seen Bama in this position, though, than Texas at this point, because Bama was at least a 3-loss team.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I definitely think Texas earned what they got here, and they did have some stuff kind of fall their way last round for sure. But I definitely think it's going to be a tight one. You and I both have Ohio State win this one, huh?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Who do you got coming out of the Cotton Bowl on this one? Do you have Ohio State or do you have the Longhorns? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys leave a comment, smash that like button, and make sure you subscribe.
Hit that like button for your boy AJ over there.
I appreciate it. I need it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Check it out. All the merch down below. It's just kept some of these sweet hats. We got some hoodies and some t-shirts coming up. And if there's anything you want to see down there, let us know. We'd love to get some input from you
guys. And always new stuff coming. So make sure you guys keep checking it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and pivot on over to the Utah Hockey Club, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and break down a little bit about your Utah Hockey Club. First one here that we're going to talk about. We have a couple subjects we want to jump into on this one. First, before we get into it, I do want to talk about something that kind of concerned me while we were off a little bit there, which is a deadline of December 10th. A kind of a soft deadline. We'll get into what it is here in a minute, but there was a jersey deadline for your Utah Hockey Club this in December.
Yeah.
So they were required by December 10th to submit designs. So generally, when you're submitting a new design to the NHL, it's an 18-month process. It usually begins in April and isn't finalized to the following season, right? Due to the nature with all of a sudden relocation of Utah and everything being thrown together in this NHL season in a span of 5 months, Utah was kind of given some extra time in that area, right? However, that being said, Utah's deadline is approaching, and things are going to be more permanent for them moving forward. I have some quotes here that I want to get to, but before we get into that, this is something I want to ask you though. Everybody's talking about how the jersey deadline and everything and how that's important. One thing that people may not be realizing is we're supposed to know by the beginning of next season what the new team name and the new team mascot's going to be.
Absolutely.
So if we're designing the jerseys for next season now, and we're already kind of past that soft deadline, does that mean the Utah Hockey Club team already knows
100%
who it's going to be?
100%.
And so is Fanatics working on a jersey now that's got Yeti across the chest? What is that? What's going on? Or are we going to have, because I do have some quotes here from the team there from Armstrong about making some slight adjustments to our current classic uniforms to support Utah and all that. And that might just all be PR type stuff. But I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think that they absolutely already know the team name. Ryan Smith owns the obviously owned Qualtrics, right? And that was the program that they used to take all the polls.
Yeah.
And the reason that you polled the way that they did is so that they could get a quick decision on the most popular name in all of these. You know what I mean? When I was researching this, there was potentially some copyright issues with the name. And that was one thing they were trying to figure out, was copyright issues before they could actually legally announce it, because they have to own the copyright before they can say it's Utah Hockey Club, or, you know what I mean? Like they owned Utah Hockey Club
or whatever. Yeah.
Or Yeti.
So basically what you're saying is that's kind of a slip right there. He kind of showed his hand that they already know what the mascot name is, because all the other statements basically make it sound like he's just redesigned the Utah logo. playing it safe. But if we're
Yes.
supposed to know, because that wouldn't make any sense. Why would you have a team name and then have the jerseys not match the new team name?
Exactly.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Well, and you're not going to change the whole color scheme because everyone's been buying, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I feel like we'll see if Yeti is the one that they get figured out. I feel like you will see Yeti in this exact same color scheme. I think you might even see some Utah, you know what I mean? Just Utah across the chest like it is.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably have some alternate jerseys that have a Yeti on them or whatever. But I feel like you're probably going to see a combination of jerseys next season that will include the new mascot as well as our previous Utah Hockey Club kind of designs.
Probably just be easy to throw a patch of what the mascot is on the arm.
And that's kind of exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
That'd be kind of lame, but that's probably what's going to happen. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. We'd like to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think on that. We do have somebody in the chat there. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What? Greg Hawkins. That's the first time that's ever happened.
What does it say?
That is a $9.99 super chat. Our very first super chat ever in channel history.
Wow. Thanks, Greg.
Greg.
What a guy.
Legend.
Yeah.
So that says, okay, let's go ahead and throw it up on the screen here so I can see it a little bit better. Oh God, it's going to be Yeti, isn't it? You know what? That was the most popular one that was pulled. I'm not sure.
And it's crazy because a lot of the players have been caught in the media saying it's going to be Yeti.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I heard Yeti was pretty popular. I mean, even Armstrong was caught in the media saying, you know, Yeti seems pretty popular. Like, and maybe they're just watching the same articles. Very unlikely that those guys are just basing it off articles. They're being told what the internal polls are, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm sure. I think Armstrong actually broke that a little bit too on the draft day. I think he's like, you know, the team name, whatever, Yeti, whatever it's going to be. I'm like, you know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so first of all, fantastic. Thank you very much, Greg, for our first official channel super chat. That is super cool. Thank you. It says here, I like to super chat and support the shows I enjoy. Well, I deeply appreciate that, Greg. That was
and we appreciate you tuning in because it's always more fun when you're on the show with us.
Absolutely. Absolute legend. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Greg. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's a channel milestone right there. We've never done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm more partial to the Mammoth over Yeti. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. I like, and it'd have to be singular, not plural.
Is there a plural for mammoth?
Mammoths, you know, for me, like when it comes to something like the mammoth or the outlaw or any of these things, it needs to be singular, not plural.
Yeah.
You know, so
I actually liked outlaw a lot too.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Utah Outlaw. Yeah.
I really thought it should have been the Utah Raptor. It's a perfect fit.
I liked Raptor
because that's usually.
I think Yeti was probably my least favorite, but I think that every 10-year-old that has a phone and could be polled was polling Yeti because they're like, oh, Yeti, that's a cool name. I can spell it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
That's true. It's very.
Don't listen to me.
Once again, Greg, appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in the comments there. We love to keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. Thank you for the super chat. That was awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the other topics we want to talk about the Utah Hockey Club. The first one would be this one's yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and break into Utah Hockey Club. They're obviously having some issues at home. So Utah Hockey Club currently holds a home record of 5 wins, 7 losses, and 4 overtime losses. Their road record is actually much better with 12 wins, 8 losses, and 3 overtime losses. So this is kind of surprising to me because Utah sports teams are kind of infamous for providing an excellent home crowd, always supporting our home teams, right? So why do you think they're struggling, and what do you think we can do to fix it in the future?
So I want to start with a quote from Coach Torigny. He's like, we want to do too much.
Yeah.
We get emotional real quickly. The frustration is easier to get under our skin. We would love to play with the same energy level of our fans. He continues to say that. So I think that effort is there. The love is there. We just need to find a way to stay a little bit more composed and be a little bit more even keel and to get the deal done. It's not. This is from Sergachev. It's not like we're not trying. I think the fans see that we are not giving up ever. We're coming out hitting, going strong, skating well. That's coming from Sergachev there. So my first thought is maybe the team is just committing way too many penalties at home versus on the road. Maybe they're getting way too emotional, getting in front of themselves, and just making mistakes, right? Well, my first thought was that, and as it comes out, I was completely wrong. They have 264 penalty minutes on the road and only 152 at home.
A lot less at home.
A lot less at home. So that's not it.
Yeah.
Outside of Clayton Keller, everybody at home is playing under their average, though. That was something that jumped out to me.
Yeah.
So everything across the board, they're just playing not as well at home as they are on the road. Points percentage is over 10% higher on the road. Power play percentage is over 8% higher on the road. Goals per game is over 3% higher on the road but under at home. The PK percentages, which are the power play kills that we have, is 9% better on the road. The shots on goal and the shots on goal against are both 2% better on the road than they are at home. So just across the board, all the stats are massively better on the road than they are at home. And it's not just like a little fluke here and there. All the players, with the exception of Clayton Keller, they all perform way below their average at home and play above their average on the roads.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, saves are very similar. On the home and roads, that save percentage is still relatively fluid. I believe it's 86% on the road and 84% at home. So that's not really the issue. There's a couple things I thought was interesting. One was by SLC Puck that I found on Reddit r/Utah Hockey. He thinks that they are just having a hard time not being too excited at home.
Yep.
That they want to perform well for the fan base that has embraced them early. And that's a good point. I mean, on their best day at home, they had 5,000 fans, 6,000 fans at Arrowhead Stadium.
5,500.
Yeah,
was the most because they were playing at Arizona State.
Yeah, in
a college arena
or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's definitely something to that. So now they're playing. I mean, some of the eyesight sidelines aren't great.
Right.
They're little, some of them are obstructed, but you're talking about even on over 9,000 fans every single game waiting for something to be excited about. So they definitely feel that pressure. One thing he did make a joke of, and I actually think there's a little bit more to it than this. He kind of cracked a joke on it on SLC Puck, but how the locker rooms are a little bit too sterile, too clean, and too techy. It doesn't feel like a home. It's not, they don't feel at home there. And if a locker room feels like an Apple store, you're worried about knocking something over and breaking it. It's really hard to, feel like you're at home in your own locker room. That will cause you to be a little bit more uptight, a little bit on edge. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but there is something to that. So I'm thinking that it's more about that. It's more about the psychology behind it. It's all more about the players being in their own head. On the road, they know what they need to do to take the crowd out of the game.
Yep.
And at home, they just don't have the ability to do that because they want to perform for the team that has supported them, and they feel the pressure to do so. And I just think it's going to take time for them to get past that.
Yeah.
One outside narrative that I do want to see get squashed, because I really don't like this idea. This is something that's been debunked by a lot of the players already, but it's something that is passing through a lot of the talking heads out there, is that the narrative that the team isn't doing well at home is because they don't want to be here. They'd rather be playing in Arizona.
That is 100% not the reason.
Yeah.
No, I think transitioning to the Delta Center, definitely has its own challenges, right? Just you're adapting to a brand new playing surface, and just really, I think there's a lot of pressure associated with establishing a home ice advantage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like knowing teams can come in and they're going to have to listen to this rowdy Delta Center crowd, and you have a lot. It takes a lot to acclimate to these changes. And I think that's absolutely going to affect the performance of these guys every single time they're out on the ice. It's emotional, it's compositional. And I think it kind of leads to like an overexertion that it can cause mistakes. You know what I mean? Like these guys are just lacking composure during crucial game moments. You know what I mean? Like there was a game against just recently, just a few weeks ago, or within the last week or so, against the Colorado Avalanche, where a defensive misalignment causes a late go-ahead goal and they lose a game at home. Like that's a situation that just absolutely can't happen, to have a defensive breakdown in a really, really critical moment. Then next to that, you just got some inconsistent offensive production, and these guys have just really struggled. I do think they'll get better, and I do think that this team has a chance to be really successful at home because we are great at supporting our home teams.
Absolutely. 100% agree on that. 100% agree. We also have Greg Hawkins jumping in here. I'd take Utah Hockey Club over Yeti. Actually, you know what? Utah Hockey Club, Utah HC has definitely grown on me as a name.
I agree too. I didn't like it when it started, but I actually it's kind of come to
it's come to be a little bit more familiar. I will say this: if the NHL or ESPN does not change the Utah/Utah on their breakdowns, when you look at the team stats, everybody else has the state, the city, and then the team name, and we just have Utah/Utah. How hard is it to say Utah/Hockey Club or Utah/HC? Come on, ESPN, you're better than that. Anyway, that's my own personal thing there. But yeah, so that plays kind of right into what we want to talk about next, is break down some kind of important information that's coming down, not important information, but a very important critical month that we got coming up here. This plays right into that, as we are considering what most are considering this to be a make or break month for the Utah Hockey Club. They have a 7-game homestand. Only 2 of them are against playoff teams. So it's time to do some damage. Utah is sitting at 41 points right now, which the top 7 teams in the Western Conference, for those of you who don't follow hockey that close, make it to the playoffs. Right now, Utah is sitting 10 points behind Colorado, who is sitting at 51 points. Question to you, AJ. Do you think this team makes the NHL playoff?
I actually do think this team has a good chance to make a playoff run. One of the key players is in the offseason, we signed John Marino, and he's been sidelined for the majority of the season with a kind of a long-term injury. He is potentially set to be back in the coming weeks, which is a huge impact to our defensive line that we have really, really struggled with this year, right? We've given up a lot of goals. Having John Marino back is going to help us a ton, and that could help us push. The next things that we really need is we need Captain Clayton Keller, right? I mean, this dude's a leading scorer. He's got 39 points on 14 goals and 25 assists. We need his leadership and his offensive production to just keep pushing, right? He's got to come in. They're just vital to this team's success. That's all there is to it. He's that guy for us. He needs to keep showing up. Dylan Guenther he's leading the team with 16 goals right now. And his depth on offense out there, he takes a lot of that kind of pressure off of Clayton Keller because they play together a lot.
Right.
And we need him to kind of keep being out there. Logan Cooley's another player that we really need. I mean, yeah, he's only a second-year guy, but he's just, when he's playing alongside Keller and Guenther, these guys are they're deadly, right? They've had such a good season to kind of open it up. And then the biggest portion of this whole thing is going to be goaltending.
Right.
Karel Vejmelka has been great. Connor Ingram obviously struggled early, but we need these guys to be consistent and reliable. Just keep doing what they do. This team will be just fine. Again, getting some defensive help back is going to help. Getting Marino and, all of these guys collectively can keep pushing and get us into the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Especially with this homestand, I think with 5 of the teams sitting outside the playoff picture as it sits right now, it's a really good time to kind of get in there and make some noise and kind of make up the difference and try to break this narrative. They may lose a couple at home, but I do see this coming out of this homestand with a winning record, either 5-2 or at the worst 4-3, but hopefully kind of moving us up in points there. Exactly to your point there, they do need to make some adjustments there with Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther. While Gunther's leading in points, not points, in goals, we need to see them, the other 2, Logan Cooley and Guenther, keep it up a little bit more and keep up the offensive production. And so it's not just all sitting on Clayton Keller on both sides on both sides, home and away, when playing out there on the ice. So 100% agree with you there. And I definitely think they make the playoffs because now's the time to do it, man.
Yep.
They got the games and they're all at home. And I know we just talked about they're having struggles at home, but I think this is the time they break that narrative.
Yep. They got the support. We're cheering for them. We're excited to see him play.
Absolutely. Before we jump into before we move on, folks, we do want to talk to you about Utah Hockey DNA. This is a channel that we created specifically for your Utah Hockey Club. That link to that channel will be in the description below. If you are watching this on the Utah Hockey DNA channel, we are giving away one of those sick Utah Hockey Club jerseys once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that giveaway. Really, really appreciate it. And like I said, if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. A link to that channel will be below.
Yes, it will be.
All right. So with that said there, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about the Utah Jazz.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go ahead and break into a little bit about the Utah Jazz here. Once again, folks, as a reminder, we did just hit 1,000 subscribers on the main channel, DNA Sports Recap. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, join our team here, and we'd love to hear from you there in the comments down below. We'll be giving the first $500 that we have in AdSense revenue back to y'all as a giveaway, just of our way of saying thanks for supporting the channel. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Utah Jazz here. First we have is let's talk a little bit about Walker Kessler.
Yeah, absolutely. So Walker Kessler has looked much more like he did during his rookie season. He's back to blocking shots. He's getting more points per shot attempt, and he's just being an absolute force on the court. And it's been really fun to watch him he's kind of been the bright spot in this rough season for this struggling Jazz team. So the question on my mind is Walker Kessler a key part of this Jazz team rebuild? Or are they just making sure he's got enough minutes and he's going to be an asset for the future moves?
So I'm not one to delay an answer just for the sake of more watch time.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm going to delay you a little bit here on this one. And there's a reason why I want to talk about that. I want to talk first about the health of this team here. When it comes to that it's like I said, health. You got to mention health when it comes to Walker Kessler, and part of why his improvement has been so substantial over the last year. Last year was supposed to be his breakout season, but he did get hurt in the first game of the year. Still say it was a cheap play by the Sacramento there. It was rumored that the Jazz didn't really like what they had. It was rumored that the Jazz didn't really like the way he was working and developing his game as being more of a stretch big and getting comfortable shooting the corner three, etc. That's kind of that stuff that he was kind of working on. It's been said that during his exit interviews last season, they wanted him to work more on getting stronger and focusing more and more on what made him great his first rookie year, which is around the basket, diving on the pick and roll, and being more aggressive on the boards. Right?
Yeah.
And that's really paid off. I think that stats are muted right now. He's averaging 29 minutes per game. Usually when you have when you see the number of, up into the mid 30s is where you want to see it for your starting center at his age.
Yeah.
You want to see in the mid 30s. However, I think the Jazz aren't really trying to win games right now, and having him play more than 30 minutes would kind of affect that. So I definitely think his stats are a little bit muted than what they're actually probably doing. I mean, right now, if he's around the 30 to 35 minutes per game, you'd see his points increase to 16 points, 17 rebounds in that territory, somewhere around there. So absolutely, I think when it comes to the two options, I don't think that he was part of a trade bait. Well, I don't think Danny Ainge would stop from trading anybody, even his own mother. It's a running gag on this show that he'll trade his own mother for 2 first-round draft picks. But
absolutely, sorry, Mom.
Yeah, but we do have to say that I do have to say that I do think it is permanent that he is part of the original discussion as part of the rebuild. Last year was just kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a step back.
He regressed a little bit, absolutely.
And I think it had something to do with the USA basketball and kind of shook his confidence there when he came back. He tried to do better, got hurt, and it just didn't really work out. I think he's part, if the Utah Jazz have any type of long-term plan, end goal games, which I'm not confident they do, but if they do, Walker Kessler's part of it.
I totally agree. I mean, 100% agree. The fact is he's right around 10, 12 points per game. He's rebounding 9 to 10 per game, blocking 2.5 to 3 shots every game, and he's shooting close to 60% in the field goal, right? Obviously, Walker's impact is most noticeable on defense, right? His shot blocking's been absolutely absurd, and he's one of the best rim protectors in the league right now.
For sure.
That's all there is to it. You can argue with me all you'd like. You will be wrong, and I'm sorry.
He's not sorry.
His rebounding, it's just been huge. I mean, his ability to rebound the ball is really setting him apart this season. And he continues to develop on the offensive end, which is making him a weapon. I mean, he's just becoming that guy that you can rely on to get a bucket when you need one. He's always there, pulling down rebounds for you. And there's a point in any rebuild when you have to stop collecting assets and start building players.
Mm-hmm.
That time's right now. The fact is we have a bunch of young talent, and we're going to go into another player of our young talent here in just a minute. But Walker's one of those young talents that we have, and it's time to start baiting all of these guys and trying to get future first-round picks. We don't need first-round picks anymore. We've got first-round picks for days for the next 4 years.
Right.
What we need is talent. We need to acquire talent. We need one more draft, and then we need to start building these guys, getting them on the floor, and developing players so that this Jazz team can start winning basketball games.
I like it. I would argue the point, though, that we actually need 2 more drafts.
I think one more draft because
no. We need 2.
2?
We need 2. Imagine you got Scoot. Sorry, not Scoot. You got
Scoot Henderson.
Scoot Henderson.
Wow.
Breaking news here.
The Jazz have traded for Scoot Henderson.
We'll get back to what I was talking about there in a second here. Let's hit a few of these here real quick. We do have a couple of comments there from Greg. Greg, watching Ainge trade
Kessler for picks.
I would not put it past him, Greg, but to what you mentioned there, AJ, that's not, we have enough, right? We don't have more than OKC, but that's a different story for a different day. We definitely need to talk into that about where we're going on the rebuild path. We also have another comment here from Greg that says, part of me wonders if Ainge is discovering that getting players in SLC is different than bringing them in Boston. The rebuild could take a while. Yeah. I think they realized that when both him and Ryan Smith came out and said they want to go big game hunting and they want to start training some of these assets and training some of these young players for prove it now talent. And it just didn't happen. Every trade they tried to make, the players blocked. Every, free agent, they signed somewhere else. Utah Jazz did not do well in that market, this space. And I think they know that now, okay, it's been proven to us that we've got to build through the draft, and that's got to be the way we could do it.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we need not one more draft, we need 2 drafts. So we need Cooper Flagg, but we also need
AJ Dabansa.
AJ Dabansa. That's right. Can you imagine that backcourt? AJ Dabansa.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yes. And then you have.
But that means we have to
Cooper
be bad.
Flagg.
I don't know if I can be bad for 2 more years, man. I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah,
I guess that's only
choice.
one more season, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's only this season and then one more season.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just think it's really funny that AJ Dabansa is literally the 5th highest paid player on SEG payroll.
Yeah.
And he's playing for BYU.
Yeah.
So I just, and he even said it in his press conference interview with what's his name? Stephen A, that the reason why he chose BYU, apart from the $5.8 million, whatever that was.
It was like $7 million, I think.
Something ridiculous like that, anywhere from $5 to $7 million that he got, that they are building. That is an NBA professional program down there. They have an NBA head coach. He interviewed and could have had plenty of head coaching jobs that he wanted to have in the league. He chose to go to BYU. Their strength and conditioning coach down there is from the pro level. They're building a professional program down there to move people into the league, and that's basically what they're going to get. That particular pickup has to be one of the greatest recruiting prospects that the state of Utah has ever gotten,
right,
in history. I would love to hear anybody argue any different. Now, if the guy falls flat on his face in his first year, okay, well, that's that. But as far as a prospect coming out of high school goes, I don't think Utah's ever lined up.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, so between those two, that's why I say they need to suck for 2 years. They start with Cooper Flagg, and they get AJ Dabansa. Then you got Walker Kessler,
Laurie
Marketing, and then
Colin Sexton.
I don't know if he's still around.
Oh, they were keeping Sexton. Did you see that play last night?
Just because he plays well doesn't mean they won't trade him, dude.
They'll trade everybody.
I love it. I love it.
What else we got? Comments.
That's a running gag there for sure. Let's see here. Actually, that's it. I think we're up there.
I think that bottom one.
We just talked about that one.
Did we?
Yeah, a while. Let's see. Part of me wonders if
Daddy. Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Appreciate you keeping me honest there, though.
Yeah, I can't. The phone's actually right in the way. I can't see it. But
we're using a phone, dude. We're using a high grade, really expensive, fancy camera.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a $1,200 camera. If you really want to be honest with yourself,
it was. It was not cheap. Not cheap.
All right, so let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit more about this subject that we want to talk about when it comes to players that are just, balling out of their mind right now. And you can't talk about that without talking about our boy Bryce Sensabaugh. He had himself quite a weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Are you intro on this one?
Yeah.
Me? Okay. Yeah. Get into it.
That was my intro.
That was your intro?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously had some really crazy, really impressive performances for the Jazz over the last couple of games. He had 27 points off the bench in the 105-92 victory over the Magic. He's really just shown kind of a prowess, and it's particularly kind of in his shooting efficiency, right? He's really been an asset to this team. He's averaging 9.4 points a game, and that comes along with a per 36-minute scoring rate of 19.4 points. And he's shooting 42.7 from behind the arc, which is insanity. He's really kind of developing into a playmaker, and it kind of shows. I mean, even Will Hardy in some of these post-game interviews is saying that he's really making better decisions, and his ability to involve teammates is really what's making Bryce Sensabaugh a lot more special on this team. So even though his performances have been really promising over a couple of games, obviously he was out last night with injury, is what I'm going to say.
No, it was illness.
Illness.
Yeah, he was sick.
Yeah,
there's a flu going around the team.
The thing is Darren, is the Jazz don't want to win games. And if Bryce Sensabaugh comes out and scores 30 points in 2 games and we get 2 wins in a row, when you've got 4 of your 5 starters out, he's ill too. Everybody's ill. Okay. This is 100% by design.
Okay, fair enough. So there's not a real flu going around.
I don't think there's a real flu. I think there's a flu called Bryce Sensabaugh started going off, and they're like, no, your ass is sitting down.
Go take a cold shower, Bryce.
Exactly.
I like it. I like it. That's funny.
I mean, it's just really important to recognize that this guy's career is still so young, and he still has so much upside. I mean, he really hasn't played in that many NBA level games, so it's really cool to see him in a couple of games that he gets significant minutes. He really showed up. He showed out. He is such a dynamic scorer that he is just really, really fun to watch when he's on the basketball court. He does a good job spreading the ball, and I think that he could very easily evolve into a 6th or 7th man in this rotation. And if that's the case on this guy as a late first-round pick, the Jazz are going to take that every single time.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with you there. We talked a little bit earlier in the year before the season started about which guard we're more interested in seeing this year. My pick was Sensabaugh.
Yeah.
I believe yours was Isaiah Collier.
Yeah.
Who's
playing out of his mind as well.
Playing very well.
Yeah.
I love his ability to penetrate in the basket, body up, throwing his shoulder. Anyway, back to Sensabaugh here. To me, I think out of all the guards we have, out of all the young players we have, I think this one's going to be the one that has the likelihood to stick with the team long term. I even think him over Keontae.
Oh, wow. That's a hot take.
So it's just his potential is much higher, and I don't see much more development beyond what Keontae has now. Yes, he does have room for development. He's not in his prime yet and all that stuff, but I just see that Bryce Sensabaugh's raw flash of raw talent is already showing through on a consistent basis for this team, something we haven't seen from any other of the young guards.
And he's a great shooter,
which is huge. That's a 13% improvement over last year in 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
42 points.
He's probably already taken 4 times more this year than he took all of last year.
Exactly. He's got like 10 less because he played in a few more games.
Yeah.
But he's like right now he's about 10 threes less.
Right.
But that also, the overall field goal percentage is over 9% higher, and his turnovers are way down. They're less than I think he's less than a 0.7% on turnovers per game over last year than this year. So it's slowing down for me. He's figuring it out. I really like what we got going on with Bryce Sensabaugh. I really think he has the opportunity to be sticky with this team, and I really hope they keep him because, he's a piece that other teams are going to want for sure.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, to kind of close it out, he's demonstrated such significant potential, and his contributions to this team right now are so important for him as a young player, and obviously the Jazz is a program that is looking to build and develop some of these young talents. And the fact is with development like this and a little bit more consistent performance, this guy is going to become a key player for this team in the future.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Also, we do want to talk to you about Utah Jazz DNA. For those of you who don't know, who are watching this on our main channel, we did launch a channel called Utah Jazz DNA, which is specific for all your Utah Jazz content. All of our content around the Utah Jazz will be posted here first. So make sure you check it out. A link to that channel will be in the description below if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. If you're watching this on Utah Jazz DNA, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're giving away one of those sweet new statement jerseys, the Utah Road black jerseys that you saw in yesterday's game. Those are sick out on the court, man.
Yes, they are.
Look
they look
amazing.
So good. Yeah.
It was a home game, though, so it was kind of weird they were wearing them on a home game.
Doesn't matter. They're still sick.
They are so sick. We're going to be giving one of those away, so make sure once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, we'll be giving one of those away, so don't miss out on that giveaway. A link to Utah Jazz DNA will be in the description below. Be sure to check it out. All right. We got anything else on the Utah Jazz?
Overlay. No, I do not.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's get to it.
Someone's forgetting their job over there.
I know. It's kind of, that color's not going to work either, though. There we go. That's better. It was like 2 yellows right in a row.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Major League Baseball, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been quite the off season, and if you are a Yankees fan, this is exactly the segment for you. So to start this out, we are not Yankees fans, but the Yankees losing Juan Soto to the Mets really looked like it could be make or break for them after a really tough loss to the Dodgers in the World Series this year. So I got a few questions. With Juan Soto moving on,
go Dodgers.
Who have the Yankees targeted? Who have they signed? Will this make them better? And which move has the biggest impact for the Yankees this year?
It's a great question, man. That's a really good question. So, when it comes to it, a lot of Yankees fans, a lot of Yankees apologists will be like, "Oh, I don't really care about Juan Soto. I'm much better."
We saw that in the comments on our Juan Soto video.
Yeah, like, "Oh, the Yankees are much better without him." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And while I'll cut straight to the point on this one. The Yankees are a better team this year already going into next season than they were last year. I'll say that right out the gate. And here's why. Let's talk about the moves they already made.
Yeah.
Practically the next day after the news announced that Juan Soto was signing with Donovan Mitchell's favorite basketball team, which is the New York Mets.
Donovan Mitchell's favorite baseball team.
What did I say?
You said basketball team.
Sorry. Donovan Mitchell's favorite baseball team, the New York Mets. His dad works in the front office there.
Yep.
He might play too. Who knows?
Probably plays.
Yeah, who knows? But the Yankees went out and got one of the big 3 free agent pitchers on the market, which is Max Fried. They signed him to an 8-year, $218 million contract. This man is frontline ace material, as you well know. And he doesn't even need to be a frontline ace for this Yankees team. They got Garrett Cole already.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole is locked down easily. Your Cy Young caliber type player, year in and year out. Won a Cy Young 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think finished 3rd this year behind Turk Skubal. So just always locked down. Garrett Cole is the man in New York when it comes to starting rotation. Max Fried gets to slide right into that second spot. You still have Carlos Rodon and Luis Gil, Clark Schmidt, and Marcus Stroman. I do expect the Yankees to move Marcus Stroman before spring training, but that's a lot of good starting pitching right there off the bat.
A lot of good starting pitching.
Right off the bat, your pitching is much, much better going into next season than it was.
Which was a weak spot in that World Series.
I don't know. I'd say the Dodgers had a weaker starting pitching than the Yankees did. I mean, they had 2 starters and a bunch of bullpen players, and
they had whole staff.
They had whole staff, baby. Dodgers had whole staff. Then they went ahead and bolstered their bullpen by going ahead and making a trade for the best closer in baseball, Mr. Airbender himself, Devin Williams, from the Brewers.
Right.
His changeup is the best in the game, and he's an elite closer. So now look at what you got for him. With him, you've got him, Luke Weaver, and Ian Hamilton, and they can even still bring back Tommy Kahnle, who is another great changeup guy that can throw some fits if he tries to throw something else other than a change up. Did you see that in the postseason? He threw like 38 straight change ups before he throws at Mounts.
Really?
Yeah, dude, what are you doing?
See, and I've actually got to know that I thought they re-signed Tommy Kahnle.
When did that happen?
Oh, I don't know. It's just in my notes for some reason.
Because they re-signed. I know he was a free agent, so I could have missed that one because, I've got more important people coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll definitely get into that. But before we keep going, we want to jump into the comments there. Let's see here. I'm still geeking out about the Cubs landing Kyle Tucker, plus Bellinger, boondoggles. Bellinger's
the Bellinger boondoggle
figured out. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. That's actually who I'm going to talk about next. Actually not who I'm going to talk about next. Let's talk about him in a second. They also signed Paul Goldschmidt, Goldie, who won an MVP in 2022 as a first baseman. He is a huge improvement over Rizzo at first base. He's getting a bit older, but he plays solid defense, and he is way better in every offensive category over Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
And let's not pass up. Let's talk about exactly what Greg mentioned there. Cody Bellinger, the belly bomb himself from the Cubs for a pitching prospect, also named Cody, by the way, which actually I think is going to be really awesome for the Cubs. So we'll get into that in a future episode here. But yeah, so they've got Cody Bellinger. And Belly is, sure, had a down year last year, I believe, and Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. He was batting .268 with 18 home runs and 78 RBI, which is, not great, but he can do better, right? Like that's definitely not. He had a much better season the year before. His power numbers aren't where they were, but his bat to ball skills have greatly improved, and it's going to be much better than what Rizzo was doing, which was like I think 218. So that definitely helps there. As far as that goes, he also plays center field. He's probably going to be playing center field for them, though. Moving Judge back to right field, probably the Martian. Jason Dominguez is in left. Belly is a Gold Glove defender and had one good year with the Cubs and had 2 down years with the Dodgers. The last 2 years weren't great for him, but this guy was meant to be a Yankee. His dad, Clay Bellinger, played for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see him have a better bounce back year for the Yankees, for offensively anyway. And with his positional versatility, the Yankees are already a much better team this year than they were last season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It really is just a huge addition. Bellinger was kind of one of the ones that kind of shocked me because I think I had a feeling that he was going somewhere, but it seems like the Yankees just kind of kept landing knockout punches this whole offseason. I mean, ever since the Soto trade kind of was finalized, it was just like huge signing here. It was like, wow, the Yankees just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's also more to that, man. I mean, they're in the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going after him. So are the Mets. There's still some room for them to make. They probably would like to shore up a little bit more on their bullpen there, and try to do something with right field. They're talking about potentially trying to get Bregman. So I don't know if Bregman wants too much money, but we'll see there.
Yeah.
So definitely more to come. But I like what the Yankees have done. They're still pretty much the class of the American League, man. Everybody else out there are just kind of playing for second place right now for the American League. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We also got another comment here from Greg when it comes to that. He says he wasn't great, very streaky player. Yeah, he had that problem with the Dodgers as well. He had his great MVP year. First half of the season was just out of control, and the second half of the season he kind of tailed off a little bit there. Probably wouldn't have won the MVP if Yelich didn't get hurt. The next year he didn't do well, but performed well in the playoffs in 2020. He's been a very streaky player. His 2017 season, his rookie year, and his 2018 season were good. But then, 2019, great start half, second, not great. They traded him to the Cubs. He signed with the Cubs first free agent year, had a great year with the Cubs. Power numbers were down, which were concerning. And then, last season, not great. So I agree with you there on that one for sure. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit. We want to hear from you folks before we jump into that. We want to hear from you, Yankees fans. Let us know in the comments down below what you think, as well as Cub fans. Let us know what you think about the trade there, about getting in Belly. And we'd love to hear from you folks on that. Let us know what you think about this New York Yankees team and how well they've played their hand when it comes to their offseason moves. They're kind of making up for the lack of not signing Juan Soto. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep, absolutely.
We also got another comment here from Greg. Cubs got better center fielder with Cody center fielder, then Cody with Pete, Cal Armstrong. Oh yeah, PCA, man. Combined with Bellinger's contract, it was too much. Yeah, no, I agree.
PCA had such a good season.
Yeah, robbing the Dodgers home run, man, just lives in my brain rent free.
But obviously, I mean, that dude had some crazy catches.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking future, probably gold glove potential from that guy if he can keep the pace he's going.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm looking forward to what the Cubs are doing, man. They need to keep it up, make smart moves. I believe Belly was a sign that they had where they just wanted to see what Bellinger can do, and they didn't expect him to be as bad as he was, and thought that he would opt out for free agency, and he didn't. So I thought they gambled there, and Belly's like, no, I'm opting back in. I'm not going to say no to $60 million for the next 2 years.
There.
So yeah, I think they made the right move. They traded him, and I think that's the right way to go about it. So good for the Cubs. I'd love to see what they do going forward for sure. All right, let's go ahead and move on in. You got the intro on this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
You intro both of these.
I do. I think you changed that because it was originally switched the other way. Did you not change it?
I did not change that.
No, that's fine.
Sorry, guys. For people watching live, we have a kind of a cue card on my other screen there that kind of helps walk us through what we're looking at there. But yeah, so did you take notes on intro? Do you want me to intro?
I have some. I have notes, so I can just intro.
Okay.
My notes are actually set up to intro because it was like that on there. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
weird.
Let's talk about baseball being a dying sport per Mr. Cam Newton. So in a recent episode,
MLB insider Cam Newton.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a recent episode of his 4th and 1 podcast, former NFL quarterback Cam Newton referred to baseball as a dying sport and predicted that the WNBA would surpass Major League Baseball in popularity within the next 20 years. Newton also stated that baseball isn't being played by Americans anymore. And he kind of questioned the attention given to regular season baseball games. So these comments obviously sparked significant debate.
Mm-hmm.
Critics around the professional sports scene, period, argued that Newton's perspective kind of overlooks some of the recent successes of the MLB. I mean, including record-breaking attendance and viewership figures. For instance, Game 5 of the 2024 World Series drew 18.6 million viewers, which is the highest since 2017. What are your thoughts on Mr. Newton's comments, my friend?
I hate to be one of the people out there that's telling people to stay in their lane. Because if that was the case, if people had to stay in their lane, then you and I wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
Correct. Because neither one of us are technical sports experts.
Well, everybody in this is a sports expert, right? We all have our own opinions and we're all experts. But to come on here and say that we don't have an opinion and we can't have an opinion about something like that is definitely something that I want to comment on. Let's get Gray's comment here before we do that. They've been saying the MLB's been dying since the 70s. That's a great point, Greg, and that's kind of where I'm leaning on this. This is something that's been happening that we've been hearing exactly like he said since the 70s, probably even a little bit early, ever since like the Mantle and Mickey Mantle, kind of era passed when baseball passed its golden age. That they're in a decline, right? And then you had Hank Aaron, break the home run record, and that brought some revitalization. And then I really love how they brought in the steroid comments, and then Cam Newton just went like, oh, what do they know? Like he just is like, what are you talking about? Bring back the steroids. Yeah. Like he's like, I can't comment on that. I think that was almost
and won't comment on that.
Yeah, that's almost a slip about the issues that the NFL has with that, but we'll get into that here a little bit later. So I don't want to be the type of person who says that Cam can't have an opinion on something like this on his own podcast. What I will say about that is this definitely seems like an uninformed opinion. And I will say that I just don't like these types of takes here that are just takes for take's sake. That's basically kind of what my main issue is with this. It's, is the statement he made make any sense? Absolutely not. Can the WNBA get more popular? Yeah, it's more popular this year than ever. But when you look at it, is it anywhere close to the recognition that Major League Baseball got this year? Absolutely not. It's not anywhere close. Is it likely that the WNBA is going to make ground on Major League Baseball? Absolutely. But I think there's a greater chance that the WNBA would pass the NBA before it passes Major League Baseball.
Right.
That's also something we can also talk about in another episode about how bad the ratings are for the NBA right now. These comments that he made are basically just comments from a football player who doesn't understand baseball, who doesn't understand the game and its impact globally versus regionally.
So question, what if this exact same comment was made by The MLB commissioner.
The MLB commissioner.
In 2023, in The Athletic, Rob Manfred said baseball is a dying sport and it is not the most popular sport in the United States.
I mean, well, that's not.
And referenced the fact that the sport faces challenges in maintaining a younger audience.
Okay, I can tell you exactly where that quote is coming from.
I know.
I know.
But he still
quoted
it. Quoted, baseball is a dying sport.
Exactly. Which is what he needed to say to get support for his promotion to change the rules of baseball.
Absolutely.
Which 100% worked.
It 100% worked because all of these statements led to changes such as, and in case you guys haven't watched, if this is your first time tuning in, obviously, he did implement the pitch clock, larger bases, and he also implemented initiatives such as Field of Dreams, and he's also really pushed expansion into international markets, which has been huge for the MLB efforts.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's more people watching the Dodgers in Japan right now, Dodgers playoff games in Japan than in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. And while baseball, I mean, obviously TV ratings have faced declines, right? This is still a strong, dedicated fan base.
I would argue that TV ratings have been up the last couple of years, with the exception of the World Series. Last year's World Series, when it was the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, were some of the worst ratings in a World Series. But if you look at season over season, the ratings for Major League Baseball during the regular season, it is not on a decline comparatively. And you can't compare sports like the NFL, the NBA, college football, the WNBA to Major League Baseball. There are 162 games a year right now in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
162. And it's the revenue that Major League Baseball makes in ticket sales and in-game revenue surpasses even the NFL.
Absolutely.
Because of how many games they're playing.
Yeah.
But when you're a football player and you have 18 games a year and that's what you're focused on, every game matters. You're going to look at a game on a May afternoon where it's 0-0 in the seventh, and you're just like,
it's 3:00 and you're sitting in your basketball shorts.
Yeah, it's just not going to be important to you.
Yeah, right.
But that's kind of where I think they're missing. It's just kind of, I don't want to take Cam to the mat here and be like, hey, you're an idiot, like everybody else is doing. Everybody else has done that. I don't think that's necessary. It's okay for this guy to have an opinion, as wrong as it is. It's just one of those things where I think someone's making a take for take's sake.
I totally agree. And I think that Cam made this take. I don't know if he realized it was going to be this popular or this big of a deal when he said it. And I think he was probably trying to more push the narrative of WNBA, and stars in the WNBA like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are transforming that league into something that could be much better in recent years. Is it going to overcome Major League Baseball? No, probably not. But the fact is there's a lot of complexities to this opinion that aren't popular because of who it's coming from.
Right.
You know what I mean? If this was somebody else, it would be a much different conversation. So he doesn't need to stay in his lane, because I can respect somebody having their own podcast and making takes for take's sake. But at the same time, Cam, you know better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. When it comes to that here, let's go ahead and get some of these comments here. Let's say you are right. This is from Temmy Price, friend of the channel. Coming back to that, you said it also says, if you leave your lane, do your research.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you on that one for sure. Thanks, Tammy. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Really appreciate having you along. Greg Hawkins says here, in 2023, MLB Review reached 10.8 billion. That's definitely not dying in air quotes, which I love. Appreciate it. Thank you, Greg. And MLB does need to do better with making to marketing its stars. That's where I want to talk about, because even still, like the most before now, obviously it's Shohei Ohtani, right? Shohei Ohtani is the name in baseball. Before Shohei Ohtani came on the scene, who is the name in baseball? Mike Trout, if you watched baseball.
Yeah.
But no, Mike Trout can walk down the Broadway or walk down anywhere in any city in the country and nobody would know who he was.
Correct.
Yeah, like that's the greatest player. He's 4-time MVP. Silver Slugger, going to go down, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players to ever play this game, greatest of our generation, greatest position player of our generation right there. And nobody even knows, no one can even see who he was. Like, oh, look at that. That's JJ Watt. That's like, they wouldn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And that's definitely something Major League Baseball has to do because.
But it's 100% marketing. I mean, just like Greg's saying,
yeah.
The fact is the MLB is not pushing individual players onto your TV screens. They are not giving them crazy deals, showing off what products they have. They just don't do it like the NBA does. I mean, the NBA markets their stars massively. The NBA goes out of their way to make sure that that you as a fan know who the next star of the National Basketball Association is going to be, even if they're wrong, right? Zion Williamson, the NBA pushed hard to make everyone aware that Zion Williamson was the next star. Was he? No, obviously not. LeBron's still more of a star than Zion was.
Mm-hmm.
But Ja Morant, the NBA went hard in on Ja Morant for a couple of years until he had some
issues.
Check out some of our previous videos.
That nobody watched.
Yeah, nobody watched. You don't have to check them out. I don't feel bad.
We'll throw them in the comments.
But the fact is the NBA does a good job marketing its superstars.
Yeah, exactly.
It always has.
Well, see, that's the other thing is that baseball is very much like college football. People don't watch that sport for the name on the back of the jersey. They watch for the name on the front of the jersey.
Yeah.
Baseball, you follow your team, and that's pretty much it. But if you want to get into casual fans, you need to promote your stars. That's basically what they need to do. And it's definitely going to get better. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani is definitely being one piece of that. The league is doing better with players like Fernando Tatis Jr.
Absolutely.
And, some other players that are in that kind of realm there. Juan Soto is definitely going to be a name in New York as well. So yeah, that's another pushback I'd have on this comment. If MLB is a dying sport, then why is this year we have one player signing a $750 million contract, and last year a team signed a $700 million contract, and the team that signed that $700 million contract already made $100 million off of that player.
Right.
If this is a dying sport. So that's kind of where I'd like to leave that one there. We have another comment there coming from Greg. Greg, I saw Mike Trout when he came back to Salt Lake Bees last year for his rehab stint. Oh, dude, I wanted to go to that game.
Yes.
Did you see that?
It was sold out immediately, though.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
I went and grabbed a beer and snuck out before I could.
And then he didn't play again.
Oh, man, that's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah. But yeah.
You're like, thanks, Mike.
Yeah. I'll never forget that when Eddie Murray was in a rehab assignment for what we call in my family the baby Dodgers, which at the time was they're called the OKC Dodgers now, but at the time I believe they were called the Las Vegas 51s. Tammy, correct me in the comments what the Dodgers AAA team was at the time. But Eddie Murray was rehabbing, and he was here, and it was sold out. And he's a Hall of Famer for those who don't know. And we chanted for 3 games. Eddie did not play until he came up to a bat in the last game, and he hit a bomb to left field.
No way.
Yeah.
Just got up and knocked it out, huh?
Just knocked a bomb out there.
That's so awesome.
He did that just for the fans.
Yeah.
And it was a tough pitch, man. It was a slider kind of in the dirt, and he reached down there and got it. It was pretty impressive. But yeah, so anyway, folks, we'd love to hear from you let us know in the comments down below what you think when it comes to these comments from Cam Newton. Is baseball a dying sport? We'd love to hear from you on what your take is on that. One thing I have to say about that when it comes to Major League Baseball before we get out of here is there is something I do want to talk about that, which actually, never mind. I'll save that for a rant later. We'll talk about that later.
More rants incoming.
More rants incoming for sure. We'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about anything we talked about today. Once again, folks, this channel did hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for that. Once this channel hits 5,000, let's do that. Once the channel hits $500 in AdSense revenue, we're going to be giving away $100 to 5 subscribers. Each one of them will earn $100 each. So if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, we'll begin giving that money away. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway.
Absolutely. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available as a podcast wherever you get your audio. Make sure you guys leave a comment, smash that like button, and make sure you check out the merch store. Obviously, there's new stuff coming. Check it out.
Absolutely. With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.